Hello, hello, hello. Oh, finally, network. Network has allowed me. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please confirm in the comments and let me know where you're connecting us from. If you can hear me, confirm in the comments. Let me know where you're connecting us from. Thank you for joining me this evening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me quickly send the broadcast to everyone to let them know that I am live. Sorry, I started this. I want to quickly send it to everyone to know I am live. Thank you for connecting with me this evening. Let's just wait a little so that we can get other people to join us. Can get other people to join us in the live stream. That is very important. The next 5, 6 minutes, we're going to start the. I'm going to start. Thank you. Just let me know where you're joining us from. I will soon start acknowledging everyone in a few moments. I want to make sure everybody sees that I'm live. So confirm, can you hear me? Can you see me clearly? Can you hear me? Can you see me clearly? Yeah, fantastic. I have a lot of people joining live, joining live, joining live, joining live. Thank you for being a part of this. 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 Yeah, fantastic. So I can see Mrs. Olufemi Adefunke Mary joining us. Temitope Olumese joining us. Ladipo Ayodeji Basharon joining us from Ota Ogun State. Then Fadikemi Zinat Hamid joining us from Lagos. Joke Al Hassan joining us. Gabriel Amao also watching and joining us. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are sending the broadcast down to everyone. We'll be the one handling tonight's session. And tonight we are going to be learning cash flow culture. Cash flow culture. We're going to send this broadcast twice so that people can quickly get on. They can get on, get on, get on. How do you create a cash flow culture? That's what we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to be looking at. Woo. That's what I'm going to be looking at tonight. Let me send an invitation so that people can join in. Okay, the broadcast has already been sent. So just give us a moment. Good evening. Let me know you are joining us from tonight. We are going to have an explosive timeout. We're going to have an explosive timeout. But we want to make sure everybody is informed of tonight's session. That everyone is informed of tonight's session. Tell them that we are live, we are live, we are live, we are live. So in the next 2 minutes, we're going to start as people are joining. As you are joining in, let us know where you are joining us from. It's quite important to know where you are joining us from. Let's know, let's know, let's know. As you're joining in, want to know where you're joining us from. We want to know where you're joining us from. Thank you so much for being a part of the blueprint. Thank you so much for being a part of the blueprint. In 1 minute's time, we will get started as other people are joining the live stream. So, Peace Mark from Lagos, good evening. Good evening. Good to have you around. So, for everyone that is here, if you're at church today, our service. If you were at church today, our service. So, we have about 1 minute to kick off. The time flies so fast. In the next 1 minute, I'm going to start. So, I want to make sure that everybody is invited. Hold on, please. I'm also personally inviting people across all the platforms. Inviting people across all the platforms. Just hold on a moment. I'm inviting everyone. So as you're joining us, let us know. Very soon, very soon, we'll be up. Sorry for the bit of delay. Want to make sure everybody's in. Want to make sure everybody's in. I'm sending invitation to all the platforms. All. Yeah, quite. We've done that now. Okay, so we can start. So, good evening, everybody. You're welcome to today's live stream broadcast, and I will be talking on a very important topic called the cash flow culture formula. And I thank you for being a part of the blueprint. Today is the final session of the blueprint, and we have had sessions. Today is the 6th session. We have had about, since we started, we have had about 5 sessions, and today is the 6th and the final session of the blueprints. And today is the 6th and final session. We're going to be looking at the topic called cash flow culture formula. Welcome to the blueprint. Welcome to the blueprint. Welcome to the blueprint. If you have learned something at the blueprint, please begin to apply it in the next 24 hours. That is the rule. Begin to apply if you have written anything down. Today, we're going to be getting into the deep. So, thank you all for joining from the different part of Nigeria that are joining in from. And please make sure, confirm. I hope I'm clear enough. I'm audible enough. I'm about to get started now. I'm about to start this now. If I'm audible enough, please confirm. I want to get started now. So, yes, I've seen confirmations coming in that I'm clear, I'm audible, they can hear, they can see me. So let's get started. First of all, we're looking at the cash flow culture formula. That's what we're looking at tonight. And what does it mean to have a cash flow culture? And what it means to have a cash flow culture is to know, to put in perspective as a school owner, as a life builder, to put in perspective things that you should be like. Let me say the job description of a school owner. Having a culture in your organization that allows the flow of cash, that makes you see where cash is, that makes you recognize cash flow opportunities and can help you to grow your organization. Now, you will agree with me that every organization, including the school, especially the school organization, needs money. You agree with me that to grow, you need cash, you need money, you need the flow of money. You need the flow of money to grow. You need money. So having this understanding is there's a popular saying that says cash flow is king. You know, let me tell you a story. 5 years ago, when I started my consulting work, and immediately I started the consulting work, at the first month, at the first term of starting the consulting work, there was no internet then. At that first term, I had cash flow, but by the holiday, I started third term. I started in a third term. By the holiday of that third term, there was no cash flow because it was all consulting for schools, just like our schools went dry during the lockdown. Exactly. So after that period, I hugged my pillow and I prayed a prayer and said, I don't want to be in this situation again in my life. So I know the importance for a school to have cash flow, but there are activities that school focuses on, that the school owner, the owner of the school focuses on, that does not help the flow of cash in his or her school. Focusing your person on activities that create cash flow helps you have more cash, more disposable income in running your school. And if you agree with what I'm saying, put it in the comment that I agree that school needs cash. Now, I'm talking about putting your priorities and your activities right in such a way that you, as the school owner, have enough time to recognize cash flow opportunities and recognize cash flow potentials and maximize those cash flow potentials. And that's what we are talking about tonight in these blueprints. So how do you focus your person or your school on generating consistent cash? How do you create a cash flow culture personally? How do you have the quality time to create new products and services, which is going to be the felicity of our discussion today? How do you establish a system that helps you recognize cash opportunities? And how do you, make sure that all these things satisfies your parents? All these things satisfy your parents. So before I get into the explanation, I want to ask you, do you agree that school growth needs cash? Do you agree that to grow, we saw some presentations that to grow your school, you need to understand the flow of cash in your business. I'm talking about those things. Do you agree that the growth of school needs cash? The growth of school needs cash. If you agree, let me know in the comment section that I agree. And how do you recognize that? What are those things? So let me get into it. Number one, the greatest need of a business is cash flow. So focusing your person and your school on how to generate consistent cash is the purpose of this presentation. Creating a cash flow culture personally, then having quality time to create new products and services, which is what we're going to be discussing today, and establishing marketing systems to grow your already fantastic school, and also creating ways to satisfy your parents in a sweet way. Now, what do I mean? We're talking about cash flow. What do I mean? We're going to be looking at the 6 fundamentals of creating a school with a cash flow culture. We're going to be looking at the 6 fundamentals of creating a school with a cash flow culture. What are these fundamentals? What are these fundamentals of creating a school with a cash flow culture? I'm going to make, because tomorrow is Monday, I'm going to make this presentation as quick but as informative as possible. So let's get into it. Number one, as a school owner, you must be able to identify and systemize your enrollment. That's number one. And this is the basic and the introduction of all the things we are talking about. Is first of all, let's identify what are the things that directly affect your enrollment. You must be able to identify and systemize your enrollment. You must be able to identify and systemize your enrollment. Now, what do I mean by identifying and systemizing your enrollment? It is the ability to focus on activity that impacts the growth of your school. Ability to focus on those activities that impact the growth of your school. That's number one. For example, you find teachers find school owners because of trying to save cash. They involve in activities that don't directly impact the numerical growth of the school. And that happens. For example, maybe you find a school owner teaching in a class. Now that is fantastic. Maybe at the beginning you don't have teachers, or at the beginning, or there's a scarcity of teachers. Maybe you just lost 1 or 2 or 3 teachers, and you need to just quickly fill up that room. Yes, those things happen. Those situations happen. But making it a norm to have a class dedicated to yourself to teach is shortchanging yourself. Because first of all, as the school head, you need enough time to focus on the activities that I've put on the screen. I just try to summarize it. As a school head, you need enough time to focus on, number one, marketing. Ability to develop the strategy. Let me tell you, the strategy for the growth of your schools stops at your table. So the box stops at your table. The strategy you're going to be using per time. Now, I had the opportunity of watching Bishop David Oyedepo one day at his evening service. As I was watching, I was online, I just stumbled on the video, I joined the live stream, and he was talking. He said, when they opened the second university, the Landmark University, and it was looking at the enrollment of the Landmark University, and it was not hitting the expected targets he expected it to hit, he said he immediately sat down and drew up a plan that could enable them meet that particular target. He said, and by the end of that day, as a pastor, he prayed and and had discussions with himself and all of that. He could bring up a plan that helped them. And I saw it, and I was like, even at this level, you still plan for the enrollment that is going on in Landmark University. And that's just to tell you that as the leader of the organization, the marketing box stops at your table. The strategy you want to use stops at your table. And when you call teachers and you have discussions with them, you must be able to come up with concrete plans that will directly affect your marketing. You must always have ideas. So if you are locked up in the class, how would you be able to create those ideas? If you are locked up in the class, how would you have time to ruminate and think of those ideas that can help you in the long run? So your marketing, that's number one. That's what if you see my cursor, that's what I'm putting on the screen, your marketing. Number two, you focus on your recruitments. What are the qualities you are bringing into the school? Very, very important. You're focusing on the qualities you are bringing into the classroom. Now, what is your recruitment process? What are the things you have put in place to make sure that at recruitment you get the best? Not necessarily having you take recruitment yourself, but drawing out the processes, the questions to ask. And there's two kinds of questions you're asking at your recruitment. And we're going to be focusing more on that in this inner circle. There are two questions you focus on. Normally, the skill-based questions. These are questions that has to do with the capacity and the capability of the person you are bringing in, the teacher you are bringing in, the cleaner you are bringing in, the driver you are bringing in. Then the character-based questions that can help you interpret where the priorities of that person is. Those questions that helps you to notice if this person will stay long in your school and all of that. So ability to put that in place is also important. Number one, if you create time to, you are the one planning your marketing. I've talked about that. I use Bishop Deco's focus on landmark as an example. And the next one is recruitment. We are looking at how do you bring in people? If you bring in any kind of teacher into your school, you are going to run a school that you cannot delegate people to handle if you are away. If you bring unqualified teachers, it's not just about having to be able to save money. And if you are a school owner who wants to grow beyond where you are, you must learn to pay people well. That's number one. And it's not just about saving money from you taking up activities in your school. Guess what? You lose money by that. For example, you decide to teach in a class because you think that money you will save it, and you'll be able to, instead of you paying another teacher, you are shortchanging yourself, because by being in the class to teach, you will not recognize other opportunities that are there. Yes, fantastic. There are times, don't get me wrong, there are times you want to get into the class and teach to notice lapses and here and there and all of that. Fine, if you want to do that, or maybe there's a particular time where you don't have teachers, you step in and all of that. I'm not talking about that, but making it a norm, saying you want to have a class to teach, takes your eye off so many activities, so many things that can help generate cash flow. So first of which is marketing, because you as the leader of the school are in charge of the marketing strategies that will help you move from point A to point B. Number two, you as the leader of the school is also building your recruitment processes, the processes of your recruitment. That's number two. I hope you are getting what I'm saying. If you are getting what I'm saying and you are following me, you understand what I'm saying, please put it in the comment section below. If you understand what I'm saying, let me know in the comment section below. Then number three is your cash flow. Number three, I've looked at marketing, I've looked at recruitment. Looking at your cash flow. Your cash flow is understanding exactly how much is meant to come in a particular term, how much actually comes in that particular term. That is, we're now looking at, we treated it in the past inner circle, where we look at budget and expenditure. You are looking at what is your cash flow, how much is expected to come in this particular term. You have an idea of how much you're expecting. Every term you have an expectation, so you can easily plan. So you as a school owner, the activities you focus on are already established here. Your marketing, number one. Number two, your recruitment. Number three, your cash flow. Knowing the behavior of cash that is coming in. So if I'm expecting 20 million, okay, let me just use a small figure. If I'm expecting 1 million, I write that expectation down. That this time I expect 1 million to come in. Every time I can always check my cash flow to know how far I have gone to meet that target of 1 million. So I expect 1 million to come in, and maybe I give an allowance for bad debt for 50,000 naira. How much? So it means I'm actually expecting 950,000 naira to come in. How am I working towards making that 950,000 a reality? And if 950,000 is what is meant to come in, maybe my salary is 400,000. All those things are reflected in your budget. You know how much is salary. So let's say 1 million is what you're expecting. 400,000 is your salary for 3-4 months. You take your first target is making sure that 400,000 is met. So you take that 400,000 that is met, you take it, and bam, you know that salary for 4 months is met. So the next 600,000 at the top of it is what will be that will be the main gain of the school, and that is what you will use to run other projects that you can see on the screen. So having this in mind is very, very important. What is the cash flow? What is the behavior of cash that is coming into the organization? So you have 1 million that you're expecting to come in. What are the timelines to make this thing comes in? You can't focus on that, and that's why so many schools struggle with debt, because the school owners are not focused on key activities that helps give that organization a cash flow culture. And I know this very, very, very well, that cash flow behavior is very important. Now, I'll use my organization as an example now. At the beginning of the year, as my organization, our cash flow is not termly, our cash flow is monthly. So we have an understanding of January, how much should come in, February, how much should come in, March, how much should come in, April, how much should come in. From January down to December, there is an expected income that should come in. And this expected income, that is our focus. That's what we are running with at the end of the month, to know that did we do well, did we. So that's the bar, that's the measurement bar we're always measuring our organization with. So the same thing goes with schools. Knowing how much are you expecting every term from the numbers that you have, whether they will all pay, they won't pay, know how much. Then you know how much debt you can give allowance for. Now, that will help you to plan your projects. Now, if that cash flow is deficient, like the cash flow is not even enough, how much is coming in? But there are times when I have conversations with school owners and they say, I'm even paying for the school's expenses from my pocket. And it should not be, because there's no cash flow a cash flow plan for the school where you know how much is coming in. So the next question I always ask is, okay, at this term that you are in, what is your expected income? And some people don't even have an idea. So that's a very bad cash flow culture. What is your expected income? What is your expected expenses by the beginning of the term? This is not a comprehensive data. If you want that comprehensive data, I have an ebook on that, which I call the resumption drills, things to prepare yourself with, key things to prepare yourself with in a resuming term. But what is your cash flow? So is that cash flow you put in your project? Project means, what are you working on? Now, we saw Mr. Detola Ebenezer make a presentation of art and aesthetics. So am I putting money into art? Am I getting a new land? Am I building a new structure? And all of that, it can help to finance your project. And if you even determine to take a loan, you know the behavior of your cash. So if you know the behavior of your cash, you know that 1 million comes in a term, so 400,000 goes in for salary, 100 and 200,000 goes in for expenses like repairs and all of that. You have an extra 400,000 naira. So if you say, let me take a loan, you know that you cannot repay a loan of more than maybe 100,000 a month, because that's the only allowance that you have for yourself in your school. So you cannot take a loan that is more than maybe 300,000 a term. That gives you an idea of what you want to do, and you don't have sleepless nights. Very important. Your cash flow behavior helps you to fund your project. Then the next thing is your curriculum creation and interpretation. Now, what that means is, as you as a school owner, what sets you apart is ability to also create your curriculum, create your own curriculum, Listen to what I'm saying, your own curriculum, and how do you interpret that curriculum? That sets you apart. So what is the expectation for each class? What is the curriculum you have put in place? What is the merging? You have taken British curriculum, Montessori. What are those things? What are your expectations? And how are they interpreting that curriculum? We saw the presentation of Mrs. Damilola Abraham 3 days ago on the interpretation of their curriculum. And how do you interpret curriculums and all of that? Your strategic events. So that's the cycle. And your strategic event is the center of your marketing. And that's why I try to put this in a cycle to make you understand. Number 1, marketing. Number 2, your recruitment. Number 3, your cash flow. Number 4, your project. Number 5, your curriculum creation and interpretation. All these things are crucial first of all, are the activities, are the things you must put in place to systemize your enrollment. Because if you can interpret your curriculum very well, You always get new students. You always get new students. Interpreting your curriculum because you know the expectation of each class, of each level, and you translate that into timely strategic events, and that is the basics of your marketing. You know that is in your mind. Then you know the quality of people you are bringing in, and your recruitment. These are people that you can leave the school for. You can tell them to handle the school. It's not just people. These are people who have capacity. You can almost leave the school for. They have capacity, they have brains, and you can leave the school for. You have a recruitment process, ability to bring people in, ability to train people on the job. You have that. You understand the flow of cash in your business. You understand all of that. Now, obviously, school fee, part of the things I'm going to also be talking tonight is school fee is not the only area of cash that you should base your expenses on. But I'm going to get to that. But if you got this point I've explained, please let me know in the comments if you got this point, if you understand this part I've explained. I talked about this very well in the last inner circle. I talked about this explicitly in the last inner circle. But if you got this point that I have built here, please let me know. Let me know. Put it in the comments. Say I understand. They say I get you. Say I get you. Say I understand. I get you. Put it in the comments. I want to see. That's how I like to work. I like to interact with my audience. So put it in the comments. Put it in the comments section. Let me know. So first of all, identify these activities. Now you see in all these activities, you are like a person who has the bird eye view of your business. You have the bird eye view of your business. You have the bird eye. You have the eagle eye. Yes, that's a word. You have the eagle eye view of your business. You know exactly what is going on. Okay. All right. The next thing is the next fundamental. The next fundamental is this. Fundamental 2. Establish critical expectations and measures for everything you cannot handle personally. Establish critical measures and expectations for everything you cannot handle personally. Establish critical expectation and measures for everything you can't handle personally. Now, as a school owner, you have the temptation to be alpha and omega, to want to handle everything that is going on in your school. You have the temptation. That temptation is there. You know, you can even say it. What is it? You can even talk to your teachers like that and say, yes, I can get into the class and teach. I don't need you. I don't need you to teach. And the point is that you need people, because it's not easy to run a school alone. There are so many moving parts of a school. So every time you must have critical expectations. What are the things you expect to see in your school? And there are 3 areas when it comes to that. Your staff. There are 3 areas that what is your expectation with your staff? Now I'm going to use your teachers as an example. What are your critical drivers? What do you use to drive your expectations with them? What do you want them to do? What do you want them to know? Now, your staff, from your head of school down to your accounts person, down to your teachers, what is that? Because most of the time, in my discussion with school owners, when a staff collects and or becomes the best staff of the year, there is no practical performance indicators or performance index that is used. There's no publicly known performance index that is used. You know, we just look at the staff and say, this staff comes early, she opens the door, she does this, and and we say that is the best staff of the term. Now, I'm going to use teachers as an example, because those are the first line of defense. Your teachers there are 4 basic criteria that you can use to assess your teachers: their attitude to work, their academic performance in the class, their attitude to work, their academic performance in the class, their punctuality, and the ability for them to refer students. 4, their attitude to work, their punctuality, their academic performance in class, and their referrals, student referrals. So 4, you use it to measure them. So when you are coming out with best teachers, this can be a very good criteria for you to use. And I'm going to be going into it deep in our uh, in this month. Yeah, once you get into the inner circle, I'm going to be talking about the teacher performance index. I'm going to be going into that very well. Then I will be dropping a sample standard operating procedure for this current inner circle. And if you want to be a part, www.teacheritinos.com/greet. Now, it's focused on your staff, number 1. Number 2, your parents and students. What is your critical expectation for a student coming into your school? Exactly. A parent coming into your school. What are the things you expect a parent to know? What is your critical expectation? Do you have it written down? Well, for the inner circle people, I'm going to solve that problem because I mean, I don't want to wait so much time talking here, but I will be dropping it in the inner circle. Then your administration. You look at your administration. What exactly are the things you expect with your admin? What exactly are those things that you expect with your admin? Okay. So establishing those critical expectations will help solve a lot of headache. For example, maybe with your staff. We have talked about your staff that you're looking at the academic performance, their attitude to work, their punctuality, and the number of students they have referred in a term. You have looked at that, and these are critical areas. For your students, for your parents and students, you're looking at their condition for admission, the school extra lessons, the uniqueness of your school fee payment schedule, your that's your debt policy and all of that, your student academic performance, your disciplinary measures, your policy that guides parents and students. For your administration now, for example, you're looking at your school records, you're looking at your marketing timetable, you're looking at your quality assurance, you're looking at how you manage your parents' data and inquiry. So those 3 critical areas are very, very important as you get into uh, building expectations and measures for everything you cannot handle personally. Now, you must be able to build a school that you can take a break from. Must be able to build a school that you can take a break from, because when you start up your school, the passion is there. You want to almost do everything, but as your school begins to grow, something will set in. No matter how passionate you are, there's something you call overwhelm. Overwhelm means you have so much to do, and because you are passionate, you always want to do almost everything, and you must learn to say no to things. To say no, you must have a minimalist approach where even though you know how to do some things, you decide not to do it so that the person at that job post can be able to do it. But how would you be able to do it if there's no critical expectations that is drawn out for that? No matter how passionate you are. I've talked to people that are 20 years in experience, 30 years in experience, 40 years in experience, and they come to this point where they feel overwhelmed. Especially when the school now begins to create a lot of income for you, you want to take a break. You want to travel, and you find school owners in that cycle. They almost no holiday. Even during the holiday, their heads is filled with issues on what to solve, how to quench this fire, how to do that, and they cannot almost separate themselves from the school. And as you are working now, you recognize that. So for your staff, I've said it. What's your critical expectation that you want? Those things you put in place so that measurements for effectiveness can go on by itself. For your school head, for example, you look in your deepest of heart. What are the things you would do if, let's say you're getting a school head, if you, as you resume school every day, what are the list of things you do? That these are critical things you do every day. Once you resume, you know that once you resume, these are the things you do. Those things, you write it down and you have a conversation with your school head and you hand over those things and say, as you're coming in, these are the things I want you to be involved with. Not fluffs, not this, not that. What are things you will do as a school head? So that's why it's very, very important. All right. The third fundamental, the fundamental 3. Number 1, I looked at the first fundamental that we looked at is identifying and systemizing your enrollment. It's very, 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 very important. Second fundamental is establishing critical expectations and measures or for everything you can't handle personally. That's number two. Number three, do you have a marketing calendar? It's quite important. It's quite important. Do you have a marketing calendar? Do you have a marketing calendar? Do you have a marketing calendar? And when I mean marketing calendar, I'm going to get into the details of it. Everything we do in school, no matter how passionate we are, is we need growth. It boils down to that. And even me personally, I'm almost overwhelmed by the cry for growth in the heart of people. I've seen passionate people spend money and not see any tangible thing. So growth is very, very important, that everything you're doing in your school must structure itself. And you can, if you all you get out of this, you get this particular thing, then I have achieved something tonight. No, so what do I mean? What do I mean? When we're talking of growth, we'll be focusing on two things. When we're talking of growth, I'm focusing on two things: inbound marketing and outbound marketing. We're going to be focusing on that because that's very, very important. I mean, this is the command center of your school. As a school looking at generating cash flow, what is the current marketing plan that you are on? Now, all these things are into each other. First of all, we have looked at the marketing that a school owner should have strategies in place as regards marketing. Now, we're trying to now get into what are those marketing activities, because I've talked about marketing when I was looking at the cycle as the first thing that you should focus on. So what are those marketing activities? Number one is inbound marketing. There are two types of marketing activities. Inbound marketing. It means inbound marketing here is shown in ability to create things. A school owner had a conversation with me 2 days ago, and she said the part of the inbound marketing I will be talking about tonight. They said, oh, they did this particular thing, and they had a parent who was already considering taking her 3 children out of the school. But after they finished this particular activity, the parent walked into the office and told them, I was really considering this. But when I saw this, I was like, wow. Then I came and paid the money that I should pay. Your inbound marketing activities. What are your, first of all, 90% of growth comes from your parent and staff. I've said this over and over again. And that is why most of the time, if you're asking the questions and it's inquiry, what brings you in? You rarely hear handbills. You rarely hear that. You hear so person told me about the school. So it's always somebody telling somebody. And that is why you invest 90% of your time in your inbound marketing activities. And your inbound marketing activities are shown in your ability to take your curriculum and interpret the event from your curriculum out there. That's number one. Looking at what makes you unique and interpreting those things out there. They are shown in your strategic event, really. That's your inbound marketing activities. They are shown in your strategic event, really. So this inbound marketing activity is a big deal. You have to make sure that these activities showcases what makes you unique. Let me tell you again. Some parents in your school are currently considering withdrawing their children. It's always there. And this is why you must have a timely strategic event to sell your unique qualities. People won't know how good you are until you talk about how good you are. And how you talk about how good you are is you position those activities, you bring it out, you snap the pictures of them, record the videos of them, and use that to push out your uniqueness. So what's going on within your school? How are you selling your parents to see your unique qualities? Is very important. It's not just getting a DJ. See, getting a DJ, having party, and having people dance is a waste of time. Hey, nothing they waste time past that thing. It's a waste of time. Or putting speakers on cars and balls and shouting and singing. Ooh, waste of time. Pure waste of time. But activities that brings out the quality of your curriculum. And that's why as a school owner, Your curriculum is basic. Is what you're using to train those children is very, very basic, because this is where you interpret some of those things. That are the unique qualities that you bring out in your school. So how are you selling your current parents to see your unique qualities? What event are you putting in place to showcase this? What pictures and videos are you recording to further show this? We are still talking about inbound marketing. So inside your marketing, you are God Almighty. Inside, you are showcasing your uniqueness. You are still driving the point home. You are driving the point home. You are driving the point home. You are driving the point home that they can't shift it, they can't shake it, they are almost overwhelmed with the things you put in place. They are there, it's like the woman, the Samaritan woman by the well that Jesus influenced, that ran into the city to shout, I've seen a man that told me all the history of my life. It's something like that. They are so engaged with what you're doing that they want to shout it at the rooftop. You want to shout it at the rooftop. Your children are into it. Your parents are into it. Everybody's into it. But if you go through a term, you're not even considering doing a strategic event. You don't even consider all those things. You are making your parents lose zest, lose zeal, lose interest in what you do. Once you lay this foundation, the next thing is your outbound marketing. And what is this? One aspect of your outbound marketing, yes, definitely your what you do with your handbills. And when it talks about outbound marketing, so you're now beginning to look at the things you do with the outside world, the things you do with your community, the things you do with traffic centers around you. That's your outbound marketing. I'm not a fan of the handbills, but handbills can now be very useful here when you have stated your unique qualities on your handbills. You're now going to specific places to sell those unique qualities. So you're talking about whatever that stands you out. Maybe it's your tech ability, your e-learning facility, your specialized curriculum, your different events, and you take those handbills, you now put it in the hands of your parents, your staff, your children, your school bus, in eateries, in traffic centers, everywhere their eyes goes to. But much more, your inbound marketing should be a great focus. How are you currently getting your current parents and staff excited to be a part of your school? Are you putting that in place? Now, that is it about that. Now, in order to also look at your outbound marketing, one thing that I look at when it comes to your outbound marketing is you look at your inquiry itself. How are you marketing? How are you, when there's an inquiry that comes in, what is your follow-up culture? How do you follow up people? That's outbound marketing. When somebody comes in, what is your culture of following up? What is your culture? According to statistics, you must follow up people at least 14 times before they take you serious, before you call it quits. So what is your follow-up culture as regards that? All right, so that's your inbound, your outbound marketing. Then the next thing is the fourth fundamental here is that you must then have a reputation of making people take action. Have a reputation of making people take action. Have a reputation of making people take action. Have a reputation. So now that you have set all those plans in place, you are now the driver of those things. You are the driver of those things. You have critical expectations you have set into your school. So you are the driver of those things. You are the one that is involved to making sure that those expectations and plans that have been set, that they come to fruition. You are the one that gets people to take action. For example, now you must, and the point of having a reputation of making people take action is one thing. Learn to ask, learn to commit people, learn to ask for commitment. Learn to ask for commitment. Learn to ask for commitment. We learn to ask people for that. He said, learn to ask. That's the fundamental of getting people to take action. If you need referrals from parents, I say this story of a school over and over again. This school, I don't know, maybe it's this presentation I said it, or with someone, or with a personal consultation that I had with someone. that the school owner was struggling with growth for a period of time, and he started considering to close down the school. He considered it for about 2 years. Now he now called a parent meeting of some key parents in the school. And when he called them, his discussion with them was not to ask them that, see, we're not going at the pace I want us to go. What can we do to do more of that? His conclusion was just to tell them that I am closing down this school. That was his decision. That was what it was made. And guess what surprised me? When I was having a discussion, he said, the parents said, don't close down the school. What way can we help? Say, will you give me a hand? Let me take it to my business place and all of that. And that's to tell you that there's a basic desire in man. And that desire is called, there are about more than 10 basic desire in man. And one of that desire is called idealism. Idealism means the desire to help, to desire to be of help. And that is why if you have ever given somebody a hand of help before, maybe you give somebody money, you refer somebody, and somebody says, I could not have been here because, if not because of this person, I could not have been here. There's a feeling of pride. What I mean pride, I don't mean being proud. I mean, there's a feeling of fulfillment, achievement that you feel. And you are so happy that you could be of help to that person. And I mean, I also feel that when I see a lot of testimonials coming, I'm so happy, I'm joyful. That's the deep desire in mind. It's called idealism. So learning to ask for help is very crucial. In fact, there's an ebook I wrote that I rarely sell, and I think I've not sold it in 2 years, but I'm going to sell it this year. It's called The Idea Machine. And the Idea Machine puts in a list of asking strategies, especially when it's getting to the end of the term, how to ask people for contribution, ask people for donation, ask organization for donation, how to ask different people for things and put your school out there. And put your school, how to ask parents for referrals, how to ask staff for referrals, how to ask and ask and ask and ask and ask and ask. Must be a master of asking people to do things. Don't assume that people will do things. Ask them to do it. Oh, we are having a strategic event on Saturday. I would like all of you to be here. And how many of you can bring at least 2 or 3 persons? You send a text message to parents. We need your support as regards this and that. You have a meeting, want to buy laptops into the school. Can we have parents come and partner with us? We need the contribution for each family for 10,000 naira. Don't assume. And once you have that, in your mind, it will make you jump forward on time. For example, you can have that in your mind and you say, if I ask, we have gone through different experiences in life, and that is why you should join this inner circle, www.teacherituning.com/greet, because we have had different experiences in life that does not make us ask. Maybe especially some of us, maybe we grew up under parents that you can't ask them for things, they will shout you down. So we take that experiences into business, and that's why we're talking about our emotional intelligence in the second month of this inner circle. Ability to get out of our own way and prosper. Ability to get out of our own way. Like some people could also have this mindset that if you ask, would they not become how would I put it? They will become good demigods, semi-gods, and all of that, and they won't. And I just wonder why people have to think all this way. I mean, there are strategic ways to ask. A particular school owner who was part of the blueprint speakers, the last blueprint speakers, talked about how parents supported our school during the lockdown with donation of nose masks, donation of hand sanitizers, and different things. But guess what she asked? She put it out there, and a lot of people supported that venture. So it's very important to have a reputation of making people take action. I always use this illustration. Like at times you find people talk about maybe, especially I see pastors at times they do this. I'm close to that family of pastors where maybe their ministry and all of that, and you see them complain about people. That's it. And some of them will complain, and you people are not lively, you people are not talking. And I'm like, if you want them to talk, tell them what to do. Can you raise up your hand, say amen, shout hallelujah, I want you to do this? like issue out something and let them respond. That is exactly that's how it is. People are always looking for you as a school owner to take the lead. Take the lead. They are looking for you as a school owner. Say it with a smile. Ask. Have a reputation for that. If you need cash, I think I have the testimonials on the idea machine. I can show you at that period, those people that came into the idea machine. I don't know if some of them are watching. They can put it in the comments. Those people that came, people that had donations, financial donations, material donations, drinks donations, so many things that came into that the money that would have been spent from this pocket of the school was spent from the pocket of those people. And it was a function of that desire of idealism, ability to be of help to someone, ability to be of contribution to someone, ability to be of support to someone. Take advantage of that desire. Is innate in your school. Is innate in your parent, I mean, and all of that. Okay, please put up your questions as I go on. I should be going straight to rounding up. Fundamental 5: actively sell more to your existing parents. Cash flow culture, the fundamental of the cash flow culture, the fundamental 5 is we must learn to actively sell more to your existing parents. And what do I mean by that? It means that you must not be afraid to put, even in this pandemic, you must not be afraid to jack up the value that you are giving to parents. It's very, very important. And let me tell you, let's just get into the explanation of that. Now, the first method of doing that is increasing your tuition. Increasing your tuition. And if you don't get anything, get what I'm about to say tonight. The first method, I've told the inner circle about this over and over again. I'm going to tell you too about this over. Increasing your tuition. Now, there are 3 fundamental ways to increase tuition. And the inner circle have been a part of this knowledge. There are 3 fundamental ways to increase tuition. The first method is, I call it the boil-up method. Now, an experiment was conducted at a particular time on frogs. That if you put a pot of water, you're boiling water, and you throw a frog inside that boiling water, that the frog will jump out. So, I mean, that's as much as anybody, right? And if you just put the frog there, it will jump out. But that experiment was now performed that if you put cold water on fire and you put the frog inside and you boil the water, because of the frog, I've forgotten that biology, they call it, there's a particular name they call it. The temperature of the frog will increase alongside the temperature of the water. At the minute, it will boil up alongside until the frog dies. It won't, because as the temperature of the water is increasing, the temperature of the frog is also increasing till the frog boils to death. Now, that's the boil-up method. Boil-up method is basically, maybe you are scared of increasing your tuition and you don't just want to increase tuition and all of that. You can make it a point of contact to at least put 1,000 naira every second term. Every second term. So that I don't want them to run away. Put 1,000 naira every second term. I mean, that's boil-up method. So at least every second term, there's an amount. It could be second term, could be advisable second term. There's an amount. That's the boil-up method. You make sure there's an increase. That's the boil-up method. That's number 1. Number 2 is the clean-up method. And the clean-up method is basically, we're having too much and I want quality. And and don't tell me this is not possible, because I've been able to have one-on-one interactions with over 200 school owners. So I've seen them use different strategies at different times. Now, this particular man I met who told me that they were increasing in numbers and he decided to take their school fee from 35,000 naira to 70,000 naira. That's a double increase. That's clean up. Basically, some people will definitely drop off. So, but it might not be as high as that. It could be like a 5,000 naira is a clear. I mean, from 5,000 from some schools, you add a whole 5,000 to a school bill for some schools. Bam! You're going to have issues. Some people will get out of that school. So 10, 15, that's cleanup. That's cleanup. You want to mop up your school. You want to attract a kind of parents that would really appreciate what you're doing in your school. That's cleanup method. Then the show it method. I'm still going to be expanding on that. The show it method is you have added a service. You're not offering tech before. Now you're offering tech. Then you use the reason for what you're offering to now add value. You don't have a studio room before where you have TVs in your classes and you have different students can learn different things. You have gadgets now being added and all of those things. Or there's a new painting, there's an art design. There's so many things that you are now doing. You can add that show it method. It makes parents can see it, like what we had in the art and aesthetic session. Parents begin to see new things, and in their mind they're already knowing that there will be a price increase, or when there's a price increase they justify it already. That show is they see a new thing. So that's another way. And you can't be too scared. If you are too scared, you're not doing any of this particular thing, especially for your school that you have a lot of expenses and all of that. So here we have looked at at the beginning, we have looked at marketing, where you have a marketing calendar to increase your numbers. Here we are looking at a place where you're not just increasing your numbers now, you are increasing your let's say you have 200 students and you are now increasing your tuition. You are increasing the value of the numbers that you have. And you have three methods. The boil up method really results in loss of parents. Really. The cleanup method obviously always results in loss of parents. And the show it method also really involves loss of parents. But any of the three methods that you would prefer, you can use. So that would be that on that. Now, that's number one. Number two is you can increase your tuition. That's number one. Number two is you can create new offers. I'm talking about now how to actively sell more to your existing parents. You can create new offers entirely. You can decide to not, now you're not increasing your tuition. You just want to create new offers entirely. So as you're resuming into the term, you can decide to start authoring texts. You yourself as a school owner, you are now authoring text materials. In that way, you're already increasing your bottom line. You are authoring text. Text means that you're authoring textbooks. Authoring textbooks. You're authoring assignment books. You're authoring things that would bring money. It means now this is not about increasing tuition. Now, maybe you're not comfortable with increasing tuition. What can you author that everybody in your school can buy? Telling you the truth. What can you settle down to put together? And this is one reason joining the inner circle is very, 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 very important. Because authoring, you can author text as an individual, you can author text as a book. Now, what are the examples of texts that can be authored? Textbooks in itself, assignment book, weekend assignment books. They could be authored by you, your school. E-notes could be authored by you and your school. These are things parents can pay for. Text materials parents can pay for. Can bring in an extra cash for you and your school. Authoring of texts materials. That's number two. You can introduce new wares, and we heard one of our speakers talk about that, where they have 5 uniforms. You can introduce new wares to boost, to immediately create a cash flow for your school. Something that you have one uniform, you're not getting into 2, into 3, and all of that. You can introduce new ways. Number 3, you can have value added services. Value added services include after school care, online support systems, taekwondo, swimming, and things like that. You can have value-added services. So you can create new offers entirely. Things that you are not going to touch your school fee. At the end of the day, you're still increasing your cash flow. So you can't complain. See, even on this live stream, you can't complain you don't have money. These are the things that helps you have money. These are the things that helps you have money. School fee tuition fee, ability to go around it, number one, ability to have value-added services. These are the things that helps you create cash flow for your school. And look at the things I've been talking about. If you are locked up in your classroom, believe you me, you cannot see these opportunities lying around you. You cannot recognize these opportunities. You cannot recognize these opportunities lying around you. You cannot recognize these opportunities lying around you. And you don't have to do all. I'm saying a whole wide range of things because ideas can come in that you can now begin to go into it to say, okay, I think this is what I want to start with. I think this is what I want to start with. All right. Hope you're getting my points. Okay, fantastic. The next thing, the last but not the least fundamental. The last but not the least fundamental that we're going to be talking about. Yes, the last but not the least fundamental that we're going to be talking about is expand beyond your current markets. Expand beyond your current markets. Expand beyond your current markets. I can't say that. Expand beyond your current markets. I've made a post in this group that if you've noticed something about the blueprint, and that's something that I got inspired with. If I'm going to invite 6 speakers, 4 of them will be actual school owners who are already in my community, who are doing great things. Now, when I step into consulting, I notice school owners with wealth of experiences not willing to expand beyond their current market. And if there's a lesson we learned from the lockdown, it's the closure of schools. Now, in the education industry, for example, there are different markets. Now, what's the concept of expanding beyond current market? What's the concept? It means school owners is a market. Like the product I sell, that Teacher IT sells, is for school owners. I rarely sell materials for teachers. That's a market. I rarely sell materials for teachers. There's somebody I know, who sells materials for teachers. He has a whole string of material for teachers. Good for him. I rarely sell materials for teachers. There are materials I sell for school owners. That's a market, school owners. Parents is a market. Now, there are now segments of market. Parents with children between the age of 0 to 4 is a market. That's a market. Parents who have children who wants to write WAEC is a market. Junior WAEC, senior WAEC is a market. I'm giving examples of markets. That market is segments of people who have a common shared need. If you can write that down. I'm taking this video down after this because it's value loaded. Taking this video down after this. It's only going to be for the inner circle, www.com/grid to get inside this current inner circle. A market is a group of people who have a shared need, a common need. That's my own definition of a market. They have a common need. Now, that's my own definition. So school owners, what's the common need that all school owners have? School growth, right? Teachers, what's the common need teachers have? Better salary or certificate. Teachers need better salary. Teachers need better skills so that they can earn better salary. Teachers need certifications. What is the common problem parents have? Children education, Now, let me even go further to explain the concept of markets so that let's leave the education sector for a while, just to know. Birthday celebrants, that's a market. People getting married, that's a market. New couples, that's a market. Listen to what I'm saying. This is not selling generally. New couples, people giving. I want you to understand what market is. People that are just giving birth to their first child, first-time mothers. Let me put it like that. First-time mothers, that's a market. Divorced, or divorced and or separated, that's a market. Food lovers, that's a market. And I can keep mentioning market. A market is a group of people that share a common need. It has a group of people that share a common need. So, different markets do we have? Different markets do we have? Uh, okay, my different markets do we have? I hope you are getting what I'm saying. All right, just notice that my phone is not showing comments, but all right. So different markets do you have? That's the fundamental six. Did you get my point of different markets? So as a school owner, now let's just narrow it down to schools. So schools could have primary supplies and materials. Means you look for what an aspect of education you want to make supplies for. Your school is, with the advent of the internet today, I mean that's the tool, social media today, you can have multiple markets. You can serve multiple markets. But because I still like the idea of focus, I serve the school owner market with different offers. But you now, you can decide to serve your parents, that's a market. You can take and serve teachers, that's a market. You can take that and serve nursery teachers, that's a market. You can take and serve stay-at-home mothers, that's a market. You can take and serve people that need primary school supplies, that's a market. You can design curriculum and serve that. I mean, you can serve multiple markets, and these are the things I try to open even the people of the inner circle their eyes to. I focused on that. In order to also do this, so that you can understand what I'm saying as regards this, there's an ebook I have. I call it the Profit Blueprint: 10 profit centers every school owners should consider or should have. And I am going to be treating that as a webinar, like this, not on this group. I'm going to be treating that on in the inner circle as a webinar. The last group of inner circle already have the ebook. This current group of inner circle already have the ebook. I mean, if you are here, is in the library. In the library, you know where to get it from. But we're going to be treating it as a video explanation like this, so that there will be a video explanation. I always like to get into videos of some of those materials, so you can see what I'm talking about there. Where we're going to be focused, we're going to be going into it in details. But these are markets. So you expand beyond your current markets. You expand beyond your current markets. Well, that brings me to the end of my cash flow culture today. So there are many things you focus on as school owners that goes beyond just teaching in the classroom. So here is what you will help me with. You have any questions? I'm going to go into the comment section. I'm going to go into the comment section now so that I can be able to see questions in the comment section. So please, I want to go into the comment section so that I can be able, my Facebook app here is misbehaving. I don't know. I cannot see the comments, but I want to go there now and see the comments to know it's misbehaving seriously. Okay, so please. Sorry, I won't be able to mention your name, but I can see it here. Can see. So I want to treat the questions. I want to treat the questions. Now, as I'm treating the questions, I will, because I want you to take advantage of this inner circle. I'm going to close it next Friday, but I want to take advantage of this inner circle now so that you can be able to know www.teacheritudent.com/greet. Okay, fantastic. Sorry, I'm still checking the comment section. I'm still checking the comment section so that I can be able to picture the questions that we have and I can answer. All right. Okay, I'm picking the questions. Someone said I should expatiate on curriculum interpretation. And curriculum interpretation means how does curriculum become full-fledged? How is it? How does it become practicable? Yes, that's a word, and that's the power of strategic events. Remember, I say something. Parents don't have time to check results. That's the truth. It's just beyond the truth. Parents don't have time to check results. Don't think parents open results and say, "Oh, did my child get A, B?" You will see results with A's there, and a parent will still say, "I want to change my child's school because my child cannot read the national anthem, or my child cannot tell time, or my child cannot open dictionary." Kind of funny, right? This is what your strategic interpretation of the curriculum brings out. Brings out those things. Okay. All right. Olufunke, I definitely I'm a witness. I'm still indoor for 2 weeks now. Okay. I have to re-strategize. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's what somebody's saying. He said she's a witness and she has to re-strategize on her attitude to building a culture that can function without her. Fantastic. And Juliet says, I do a lot of videos every day learning parents as well. But I need questions. Somebody says, please expatiate on traffic centers. Traffic centers, now that's outbound marketing. Traffic centers are your places where there are a lot of people, health centers, toy stores, shops. These are where there's a lot of flow of people that are currently in your area. So you look for strategies. What are the strategies that you can put in place to influence and get your school known in that particular place? What are the strategies you have put in place? These are the things that affect the reach of your school. So how do you get your school known in those places? Remember, it starts with inbound marketing first before you go into outbound marketing. So that's it, basically. Mr. Adeka Okose talked about parents donating for the first time in our school. By the time they ask, okay, fantastic. Another thing somebody mentioned here, customized worksheets too. Customized worksheets, that's something somebody mentioned. All right, and all of that. Okay, I've been able to see some questions. Okay, some people say I should summarize for those that joined late. Okay, let me quickly do that. Let me summarize for those that joined late. Fundamental one, I talked about fundamental one, which is identify and systemize your enrollment. That's fundamental one. I talked about that, right? I talked about that. Fundamental two, I talked about, and I mentioned that when you're systemizing your enrollment, you look at your marketing, your recruitment, your cash flow, your project, and your curriculum interpretation. Fundamental number two, I talked about establishing expectation and measures for everything you can't undo personally. I talked about that. That what is your expectation as regards your staff, your parents and students, and your administration. And I said I'll be dropping a file for the new inner circle that will help you have a summary of all these things as we get into it. Because this month of February, we're going to be focusing on teacher performance index. We're going to be looking at standard operating procedures. Fundamental number three, I said, do you have a marketing calendar? Like, what are the things you have put in place as regards your inbound marketing? And I said your inbound marketing focus should be strategic event focus. I talked about that. And number two, I talked about your outbound marketing. Fantastic. So fundamental number four, I said you have a reputation of making people take action as leader of your school. It means you learn to ask. You ask for help, ask for things on your handbill. So you activate a desire in man, which is the desire for idealism, because people always like to be of help. So make sure you're not doing things alone. Then number five, I talked about actively selling more to your parents, and I talked about how to do that by increasing your tuition through the boil up method, which is increase small, small, clean up method, increase big, and easy to clean up. Then show it method, it means value added service, then you show it. So this is what I've done. Then you should create new offers entirely. If you can increase tuition, create new offers, author text, worksheets, materials, new ways of value added services. And I said I'm going to be having a blueprint video workshop right there in the new inner circle. I talked about that. Then fundamental 6, expand beyond your current market. And I said a market is a group of people that share the same needs. I talked about that. And right here, I gave example of markets and all of that. I went into detail of that. And I said, thank you for listening. So now you can join. I'm going to be formally opening the inner circle starting from tomorrow, Monday, to all the groups, both here on Facebook and all of that. You can join the inner circle, www.teachaitunde.com/greet. You'll be able to join the inner circle. I think I've been able to answer some of the questions that have been posted here today. Right. A lot of people advising me to take a break also. Okay, I will try my best to do that. But for now, my break is coming. So please, thank you so much for tonight. Join the inner circle, and the offer is currently on. Somebody said, Lord will continue to bless you. You're just too much. You give so much for less. Thank you so much. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Number 2, establish critical measures and expectations. Yes, thank you. Please summarize. Okay, I've done that. He said, it's been an amazing time with IT. Thank you. Can a school sell through entertainments like Mr. and Mrs. So and so school? Oh, I don't understand that question. If you can rephrase that question, I don't understand the question and all of that. But that will bring us to the end of the blueprint. So before I close off this video, what has been your experience? Can you put it on the group? What has your experience about the blueprints been? Would you like? Do you like this ideology of the blueprints that we've been doing? I hope it has impacted you, because that's the purpose for it to impact you. What has been your observations? Things you would like to see, adjustments you'd like us to make, and all of that. You can let me know that maybe here on the comment section or in the groups. But I hope the blueprint has impacted you so much. Now, in other news, I will be signing out. And thank you so much for creating time out to be a part of all the sessions in the blueprints. As you prepare for Monday, have the best of time, and see you on the group. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Do have a fantastic week ahead. This teacher IT signing out now. God bless you. Okay, I'm reading comments here now about the blueprints. I said the blueprint is such a wow experience. This has been so revealing. My experience is simply great. Thank you. I've been really impacted. Thank you. Let me screenshots. Let me just screenshots. Thank you for the value you added to me. You're blessed. The value loaded. I wish we can have access to all the past webinar videos. Yes, you have access. www.teachaitunde.com/greet. You have access. Just pay for the inner circle. It's 4,500 for a 4-month subscription, and that's a whole lot of value for 4,500. A whole lot of value. Just go to www.teachaitunde.com/greet. You see the detail there. It's been value loaded. I wish you can have access. Okay, I've read that. Thanks so much. God bless you. Thanks so much. It's all improved me all around. All right. Thank you so much. I just stayed here to read the comments that are coming in. when are coming. So thank you so much. Do have a great week ahead. God bless you and good night.